All right, let's talk about building a design system. But let's not think of it as just another chore on a long to-do list. Instead, I want you to approach this like an architect would. We're designing a blueprint for success, a solid plan that makes sure everything you build is strong, consistent, and, actually built to last. So, does any of this sound painfully familiar? Your marketing site kind of looks like your app, but not really. Your developers are basically building the same button for the 10th time this quarter, and your users? They're getting confused because the experience feels completely different from one screen to the next. These are the classic telltale signs that you're missing that critical blueprint. And this is the solution. A design system isn't just some fancy style guide, okay? It's a living, breathing library of building blocks. Seriously, think of it like a massive set of high-quality, perfectly standardized Legos that your entire company can use to build amazing things way faster and a whole lot more consistently. So, where do we even begin? Well, just like any great building, it all starts with phase one, the blueprint. This part is all about planning and laying a rock-solid foundation, way before you ever write a single line of code or design a single pixel. This first phase really boils down to two critical steps. First, we've got to plan the entire project out. And second, we need to lay down those foundational elements that are going to define the whole system. Trust me, getting these right from the start makes everything that comes next so much easier.
The absolute most important part of planning is defining your why before you even start thinking about the what. What business goals is this thing going to serve? Are we trying to improve efficiency, strengthen the brand? Once that's crystal clear, you assemble your dream team, designers, developers, product managers, the whole crew, and you go find a leadership sponsor. Getting their buy-in is absolutely essential. You're going to need their support to get the resources you need.
And here's a really key insight. Your design principles are not just some fluffy, nice-sounding words. Principles like usability, accessibility, or scalability, these become the actual constitution for your system. They are the rules of the road that guide every single decision, making sure everyone is rowing in the same direction. Okay, with our principles locked in, now we define the design language. The colors, the fonts, the spacing that gives our brand its unique feel. But you don't just start from scratch. You have to conduct an audit of everything you already have. This is like taking a full inventory of all your building materials. You'll figure out what you can reuse, where the gaps are, and, inevitably, where you have 5 slightly different versions of the same blue button. All right, our blueprint is complete. Now it's time for phase 2, the build. This is where all those plans on paper start to become a tangible, functioning reality. We're finally creating components and getting them into the hands of our teams. This phase is really about two things. First, the actual construction of the reusable components. These are the walls, the windows, and the doors of our system. And second, the step that's just as important, implementation and driving adoption. Because, let's be honest, a library that nobody ever uses is just a massive waste of effort. Now, when you're building these components, the name of the game is reusability and scalability. We're not just making a button, we're making the button for the entire organization. It needs to have code snippets ready to copy and paste in variations for every single context you can think of, from a big primary call to action to a simple little cancel link. And this slide just nails the power of great documentation. See, it's not enough to just give people the component. You have to teach them how to use it right. Showing really clear do and don't examples is what prevents misuse and ensures you get that consistency you've been working so hard for. And remember that old saying, if you build it, they will come? Yeah, that doesn't apply here. Successful implementation needs a real proactive strategy. You've got to run training workshops, integrate the system directly into your design and dev workflows, and make it a day one tool for every single new hire. You got to keep it top of mind with things like newsletters too.
Okay, we've built our structure, and people are starting to move in. But the work is not done, not even close. Now we enter phase 3, the living system. This is all about recognizing that a design system isn't a one-and-done project. It's a product, and it has to evolve, adapt, and be measured over time. So these final 2 steps are all about the long-term health of our system. We need a clear process to manage change and evolution, and we absolutely have to track its adoption and its impact. This is how you prove its value and make sure it keeps succeeding for years to come. To stop your beautiful, pristine system from turning into total chaos, you have to establish clear governance. That means answering these critical questions you see here. Who can propose a new component? Who gets the final say? Who actually builds it? Defining this process is what keeps everything in order and maintains quality in the long run. You know, the best way to figure out how to evolve the system is to listen to the people using it every single day. You need to foster a community around it. Create channels for feedback, for bug reports, for new ideas. Your users are your single greatest asset for finding what needs to be improved or what should be added next. So what does success actually look like in real concrete terms? Well, it looks like this: measurable impact. A 30% reduction in dev time isn't just a number on a slide. That's recaptured brain power. That's 30% more time your team can spend solving tough user problems and innovating instead of rebuilding the same component for the 5th time. That's how you justify the investment. And these are the vital signs of your system's health. You're not just tracking individual numbers, you're looking at the whole story they tell together. When you see high documentation visits that connect with high component usage and a rising consistency score, that's when you know the system isn't just sitting there. It's actively empowering your teams to build better and faster. So after all that work, the planning, the building, the managing, what's the ultimate payoff? What's the big win? It's about creating a foundation that literally elevates the work of everyone in your organization. This quote just nails the whole point. The ultimate goal here is to break down those silos between teams. When designers and developers are speaking the exact same language and using the exact same tools, collaboration becomes almost effortless. And that's how you build better, more cohesive products faster than you ever thought possible. And that brings us to our final thought. Look, finishing the initial build of your system is a huge accomplishment, for sure. But the real challenge and the real victory is in creating a system, a blueprint, that is truly built to last. One that's ready to adapt and grow right alongside your products and your brand for years to come.